crisis. Regardless of how it happens, becoming a parent to your parents can be a difficult road to navigate. Psychotherapist Dr. Robi Ludwig is here to help us navigate these changes. So talk to us about kind of that first moment of when your relationship with your parents might start to shift. I have heard people talk about a period of like adult adolescence where it's like you're still being parented by your parents even when you're an adult, and then there is a switch. But do you know when it's coming, or do you just feel it?
It's highly variable, but it's basically in midlife. So anywhere from 40 to 60, you might notice a shift in your parents, and this is very natural. It might not be a role reversal, but it might be that they ask you for help in certain areas, or you notice a decline, and you want to be involved in their lives because they need you in some way.
When we talk about parenting your parents, what should people keep in mind if they are venturing into this new phase of life? Are there any topics that are really off limits, so to speak?
Well, I think you need to approach your parent openly and honestly and with empathy. You know, it has to be a dignified conversation, and ask them, how are they doing? Are they going to see their doctors? Are they on any medications? Are they struggling with activities of daily living? Try to get a sense of how they are doing independently, and also financially. And I think the interesting thing here, and the important I guess, idea to underscore, is that you don't need to be the expert in every area. You know, if you don't know or you have some questions, ask around. There are people and experts who can help you know what to do with finances, or when to make that next step if they need to move out of their home and things like that.
And you mentioned medicine, talking to them about medication.
Yeah.
Health is often one of the big issues people start paying attention to and think, okay, maybe I need to weigh in here. What are some questions that we can have ready to go, or should we be asking our parents?
Yeah, have you been diagnosed with anything I should be aware of? Is it okay to have contact with your doctor? Because you would need to get permission from your parent in order to have that open communication with the doctor. I think that's important, especially if adult children don't live close by. They want to be able to call, because sometimes parents can't describe what they're going through. I would ask also if the parent is lonely. Do they have connections? Do they have friends? And if you provide that environment where you're not judging and you're truly listening, you can get more information and go from there.
You know, I have two sisters, and my dad sent us a group text when he and my mom were taking some trip and said, just so you know, this is where the will is information. And we were all like, oh my goodness, why are you telling us about a will? But having a conversation about an end-of-life plan, that is important.
Yes.
When does that need to happen?
It's such a tough question, but you just want to say, hey, listen, do you have all of your end-of-life, you know, forms together? I just want to make sure that everything goes the way you want it, so you have peace of mind and I can be involved in that. These are really tough conversations, but it's tougher if you're dealing with it during a crisis. That's not when you want to deal with these questions. So it's better to get in there earlier.
When we're talking about just the changing relationships we have with our parents, there is a point where a lot of people feel, particularly when you're inching into your 30s, maybe 40s, where your parents are still giving you advice, and sometimes maybe it's advice you don't want, and you think, I don't need this kind of parenting anymore. How do you navigate that and discuss that change in the dynamics?
Well, I think you can tell the parent how you feel. Like, when you give me advice in this way, it makes me feel like you don't trust me. It makes it hard for me to be around you. Set those boundaries. You can also talk to a therapist about how to deal with parents who are being intrusive. But I think have an open conversation and just say, listen, I appreciate you love me. You want what's best for me, but I feel that I'm really being thoughtful about the choices that I'm making in life.
And what advice do you have for someone who maybe goes to talk to their parents about a concern, but it's not well received by their parents?
You know, when you talk to a parent, you have to understand they're going to have their reactions and make room for that. And make sure you have support systems in your life, so if your parents can't show up, you have other people to turn to.
All right, Dr. Robi Ludwig, great advice as always. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Stay with us. You are watching NBC News Daily. We'll be right back.